We now know the names of all 13 service members who were killed in a suicide bombing outside of the Kabul airport on Thursday. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Steve Price. Kirsten has the night off. 9 of them were Camp Pendleton-based Marines tonight. Their ultimate sacrifice is being honored. News 8's Heather Hope live at Camp Pendleton with more on these young lives lost and how they are being remembered tonight. Heather?
Steve, we're learning so much about the lives lost of those 13 service members. We know that the 10 based here at Camp Pendleton, you can continue to see just the outpouring of flowers and cards and notes that so many people are leaving who didn't know these young men and the one woman, but they still want to come out and show their support. You know that 1 sailor and 9 Marines were based out of Camp Pendleton.
Being one of the best kids ever. Kind, loving, giving to every single person.
It's heartbreaking for Cheryl Marola in Rancho Cucamonga, learning that her 20-year-old son, Marine Lance Corporal Dylan Marola, is gone. He is one of 13 service members killed in Thursday's suicide bombing attack in Kabul.
That my son was over there helping people to come home, and he serves his country to the greatest of his extent and made the ultimate sacrifice for us.
Of the 10 based out of Camp Pendleton, 20-year-old Marine Lance Corporal Kareem Naku is being remembered in his hometown of Norco, California.
Just a good kid, really had a strong energy about him and knew what he wanted to do.
From the Coachella Valley, 22-year-old Marine Corporal Hunter Lopez was honored at his alma mater, La Quinta High School, Friday football game with a moment of silence.
Thank you, Hunter Lopez. You are in our hearts.
Both of his parents are members of the Riverside Sheriff's Department.
Hunter Lopez is a hero.
More heavy hearts for Camp Pendleton-based Staff Sergeant Darren Hoover from Utah, gone at 31, his 3rd tour of duty in Afghanistan.
He was 11 years old at 9/11. At that time he decided that, hey, that's what I want to do. Best kid in the world.
The only woman killed in the attack is Marine Sergeant Nicole Gee, who was 23 years old from Sacramento. Then 20-year-old Marine Lance Corporal Riley McCullum of Wyoming and his wife are expecting their first child in just 3 weeks. The remaining fallen servicemen are Marine Sergeant Johanny Rosario Pichardo, Marine Corporal Dagan Page of Nebraska, Marine Corporal Humberto Sanchez of Indiana, Marine Lance Corporal David Espinoza of Texas, Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz of Missouri, and Navy medic Max Soviak, who had also been confirmed among the casualties. And there's 23-year-old Army Staff Sergeant Ryan Noss of Tennessee.
He enlisted right after he graduated and knew that that's what he wanted to do, so it hits home for us.
In addition to community members wanting to pay their respects and honor the fallen by leaving flowers out here, we have listed on our website, cbs8.com, some GoFundMe pages. We just have a couple Marines up there right now if anyone would like to help and support. Steve?
So heartbreaking, Heather. Thank you. Well, the Pentagon says they successfully completed a drone strike in Afghanistan in retaliation for that deadly bombing this week at the Kabul airport. 2
high-profile ISIS targets were killed and 1 was wounded. And we know of 0 civilian casualties.
Pentagon officials say all of the targets were hit in a single strike and that they were ISIS-K planners and facilitators. President Joe Biden approved the strike against ISIS-K on Friday, just a day after he vowed to retaliate for that attack. Along with the 13 U.S. service members who were killed, at least 170 others lost their lives there. Well, back here at home, dozens of people gathered at Waterfront Park for a rally in support of the Afghan people. Organizers called on U.S. political leaders to help Afghan refugees, especially the ones who worked with American forces. The U.S. says it has helped evacuate more than 110,000 people from Kabul airport.
We're here today as Afghans. We're here as a whole. And we're here, each and every one of us are here today fighting for the people.
The United Nations has warned that up to 500,000 Afghans could flee that country by the end of the year. As the Delta variant continues to surge, San Diego County is reporting a spike in COVID cases. Today, there were more than 1,100 new cases reported, 37 new hospitalizations, and 3 more deaths. That raises our death toll here in the county to 3,880. As for the total number of cases in our county since the start of the pandemic, that number is now just over 331,000. County leaders are reporting an alarming spike in fentanyl overdose deaths here in San Diego. Today, the DA's office held a day of action with resources on fentanyl overdoses, including demonstrations on how to administer Narcan. That's the medication used to save a person who's overdosing on opioids.
Fentanyl is really prevalent on our streets, and kids and adults are buying what they think are harmless painkillers, Xanax, Adderall on the street, but it is now laced with fentanyl.
In 2019, there were 152 fentanyl-related overdose deaths. Last year, that number spiked up to 461. And based on data so far, experts predict there will be more than 760 overdose deaths this year. A fire burning hundreds of acres near Murrieta right now, and that smoke can be seen right here in parts of our county. Firefighters battling a wildfire near Murrieta. It's called the Chaparral Fire. Broke out at the edge of the Cleveland National Forest. So far, it has burned 450 acres and is 0% contained. Cal Fire says the flame started just after 12:30 this afternoon near a trailhead. The fire is sending thick plumes of smoke into the air. Folks in the northeast part of our county definitely can see it. 150 firefighters battling that fire right now on the ground and in the air. And the heat across Southern California definitely not helping fire crews. Big question, how long will this hot, dry weather stick around? Let's check in with meteorologist Sean Stiles. Joins us now with a first look at our microclimate forecast. Sean?
Well, Steve, we definitely are going to stick with the heat picture here, at least for the next 2 to 4 days in Southern California. The humidities are going to start to go up, and we're going to have a chance of thunderstorms. But as you can see, we've got a heat advisory until tomorrow at 9 p.m., as well as this excessive heat warning until 8 p.m. Now, that doesn't mean suddenly they flip a switch and temperatures drop back down to seasonal. They'll still be relatively elevated, but again, a very, very hot day in the East County. The one good thing that's happening right now is, although we're seeing a steady sea breeze, not gusty, really powerful winds, but a steady sea breeze, so firefighters are being able to deal with that just a little bit. Currently, though, humidities are in the 30% range in the inland microclimates. It's only along the coastline where they're somewhat elevated. That will change, though, by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday as those thunderstorms come into our forecast. Looking at the 3 days, we're going to see a slight cool down as we get into the first part of the work week coastal, but it'll take a lot longer for those temperatures to dip back into the 80s. It'll be all the way till Tuesday as we start to see some monsoonal moisture come into our forecast. Steve?
All right, Sean. Well, it was a great day to go for a nice walk. How about visiting Balboa Park? You know, there are parts of it that are seen by people from all over the world. And to match the international spirit of the area, the park's House of Pacific Relations can give visitors a history lesson. You can get a dash of culture, sample foods from other countries. News 8's Tim Blodgett was at the park today, where they celebrated 8 new houses for nations.
On a sunny day in Balboa Park, the cultures of peoples from around the world was on full display. A celebration of 8 new countries joining the park's little United Nations. The House of Pacific Relations welcomed India, Korea, Mexico, Palestine, Panama, Peru, the Philippines, and Turkey, bringing the total number of nations and cultures represented in the park to 32. Each nation has their own standalone or shared cottage, a space to display artwork, have events, and cook food from their country or culture.
A group of houses without cottages had a dream. They asked, how difficult and expensive could it be? Yeah, laughing is the right approach here.
Through donations, public grant money, and a lot of patience, the cottages were finally built, a nearly $4 million project, 15 years in the making.
A lot of people, they come to Balboa Park and they ask, where's the House of Mexico? And it was really a shame that we didn't have one.
But now the culture of Mexico will be on full display in Balboa Park, in part from the help of Blanca Gonzalez.
We're all just united in the love of our culture and wanting to share it and promote it and educate people.
This was the original idea of the House of Pacific Relations, to educate the thousands of people that come through the beauty that is Balboa Park to different ideas, culture, and art of faraway places, or maybe not so far.
The mission of the House of Pacific Relations and all of the international cottages remain the same today as it was in 1935, to foster and cultivate a spirit of tolerance, understanding, and goodwill among all the cultures represented here.
Tim Blodgett, News 8.
Such a cool way to learn about different nations. And isn't that one of the best parts of December nights, walking through that area and sampling food from all the different nations? So awesome. Lucky to have it here in Balboa Park. All right, coming up, Louisiana prepares for Hurricane Ida as it is taking aim and continues to strengthen. They're getting animals out before the storm hits. We'll tell you how local animal shelters are stepping in to help.